Hello and welcome everyone to Scott Schilling Speaks. I'm your host, Scott Schilling. Really looking forward to this being an informational show today because we're going to be talking all things healthcare. And who doesn't need to know about that in this day and age with everything that's going on? An absolute expert in the field, been in it for quite some time. I won't reveal exactly how long, but my good friend, Bill Andersen. Bill, thanks for joining us here on Scott Schilling Speaks.
Thanks very much, Scott. I'm chuckling at that. I think last time I did an interview with you, my hair was a different color, so I or at least had some salt and pepper and not just salt, right?
Exactly. So you've been around the healthcare arena for many years of your career. Obviously, with everything that's gone on with the pandemic, and we're fighting through that, and then coming out the other side. Uh, Let us lay the landscape out a little bit for everybody to at least have some foundational information on.
Well, I have been at this a long time. I was chuckling. I was looking at some of my license renewals, and this coming March it'll be 4 decades. So I've been doing this a long time. I think in that period of time, you come to know a lot about the healthcare industry, and of course, I've been on the delivery side. The health insurance broker, bringing the stories and bringing the messages to employers my whole career. And, in that landscape, I think it's a really challenging landscape that we're in these days. I meet with employers for a living. I've interviewed thousands of CEOs over the years. What do you want? What's most important to you? What's working? What's not? Ask the same question to employees, and at some level, as there's been interaction with brokers, what are their views, and seeing if those views are in alignment with what I'm hearing from the employers. So, in today's market, the landscape is, if you are United, Blues, Aetna, if you're the carriers, your stock prices are awesome. You're doing really, really well. In fact, they've made significant amounts of money over the last 4 or 5 years. The introduction of the Obamacare program. The big carriers are, even with some of the challenges they face, they're doing quite well. So if you and I owned United, you and I would both be really happy right now because our stock prices are awesome. If I'm an employer, I have a completely different motive right now. I'm interested in value. I'm interested in simplicity. I'm interested in reliability, right? I want to, and I expect that from my carrier. I expect it from my agent who's helping me design. What we're hearing in that landscape is I need to attract and retain top talent. How do I do that? Because I can only pay so much. I've got a challenge with top end wages, and how much I can afford. I've got costs in my company. So how can I use, if it's possible, to use my benefit program as an attract and retain program? The next thing they want to be able to do is employee health and productivity is critical to a CEO and to a company. The product that goes out the door, meaning the health product or the benefit product that goes out the door to the people, to the employees, is directly tied to the health and the productivity of the workforce. These employers want healthy, happy employees for one they like them and they want them to be happy, but there's one other major motive that they want that to happen. Why they want that to happen, and that is that they want happy customers. If I'm selling vehicles to customers that are walking into my car dealership, I don't want them leaving and saying my salesperson was angry and frustrated and he could barely walk because his back was killing him and he couldn't afford to go to a doctor visit, and so he was just stressed out and he stressed me out and I didn't even like buying from these guys. or take it to another step. Let's say that it's a vehicle manufacturer. And if you've got a whole series of employees on the line that are sick or hurting or struggling, and their pain is overcoming their ability to perform at a high level, those things happen. And that's real in America today. And I'm not picking on those industries, but employers want healthy, happy people. And then the last thing, just setting the table, employers want their employees to be happy or satisfied with the offering that's made. Meaning,
Right.
hey,
Sure.
I like being here. I like that. So the landscape is challenging right now because the healthcare is not affordable or not very affordable. A lot of that is the incentives are aligned inappropriately, which I think may talk about in this conversation a little bit. The incentives with the large carriers and the employer, I think are running into each other. They're not aligned because the motives are different. I mean, if you're a big carrier, your motive is, or a big hospital chain, your motive is to have beds filled. Your motive is to provide customers for your doctors, your clinics, your surgical centers. You want the more the merrier. You want people using your MRI machines or your CT scans. You want more of that as fast as you can get it. As an employer, you want the opposite. You want healthy people that are getting things done that aren't in hospitals all the time, aren't in for services all the time. So I think that's just an initial, what's on my mind right now as I'm meeting with employers. We're addressing a number of those issues, and that's busy.
I mean, those are pretty divergent ends of the equation, though. You know,
Sure.
you got the employees wanting something, you've got the employers wanting something different, you've got the entire healthcare system really running as a business. How many beds can we fill? It's really, how do you strike a balance in there and provide value for people in that kind of process?
Well, let's define value, right? I think it's important to take a few minutes and understanding what is healthcare. So you've had some healthcare experiences in your life. What does value mean to you relevant to healthcare? I'm 60, you and I are pretty close to each other, right?
Right.
What does value mean to you personally in your healthcare?
Well, I would think, you know, the price value relationship of what do you pay to gain the protection and hopefully never have to use it to what gets paid if you do have to use it.
Right. So that's one definition of value. My definition of value for me, you know, we've known each other a long time. I've been very blessed that I have not had real, what I would call significant challenges I've had to overcome. I have a new knee. That's a transaction. You know, that was something I needed to have done. And it wouldn't have bankrupted me, but it potentially could have. You know, I have a knee in me that cost $86,000. So the question is, what's value? When I had the health plan that I had, my view was, well, I'm really glad I have just a deductible and a coinsurance to cover that. But it was still, between the deductible and coinsurance, still cost me $11,000 of the total.
Wow.
Value, now that was many years ago. Values changed to me. What I did not know at that time was that the hospital and the clinic and the services that I had rendered, I could have got that same value, or I could have got that same outcome for $32,000 at a different hospital, same doctor. I didn't know that I had the choice at the time.
Wow.
So
I mean,
value has changed some.
That's kind of crazy if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not trying to pick on one hospital or another, but you could write down there where you live. We could go to hospital A, hospital B, hospital C. And those hospitals are going to vary dramatically in how much they charge for X. Most employees make all of their decisions based on deductible, coinsurance, copay, network, and cost. So example, here's what's happening in the marketplace metaphorically. I know you're a storyteller, me too, so it's kind of fun to just look at this from a storytelling perspective relevant to value. Hospitals, clinics, doctors, insurance companies, some of them, and some brokers are standing at the bottom of a metaphorical cliff. They're screaming to the top of the cliff, hey, jump, to all the employees. Jump, we got you. All you have to worry about is your deductible, your coinsurance, your copay, and your network. You're going to break into a million pieces. We get that when you hit the bottom, but don't worry, we're going to put you back together. Oh, by the way, don't ask us how much that's going to cost. That's not relevant. Only thing that's relevant is deductible, coinsurance, copay, network. And that's how we programmed people for the longest time. What if somebody were standing at the top of the cliff? What if there were an organization or some group standing at the top of the cliff and saying, hey, Scott, don't jump. That's not the truth. They're not telling you the truth.
Right.
Now, yes, you may break into a million pieces, and they'll probably put you back together, which is awesome about America. We have great medical care to put you back together, right? But there are cost factors and there is value down there that needs to be considered. What if I don't have to jump? And God forbid if I do fall by accident, I can be put back together at an affordable cost.
Right.
What if that could happen? What if there was someone standing there saying, don't jump, let us help you navigate and manage the waste that's in the system. And it's a key word, Scott. So now we're back to value. If you just purchase a plan, any plan, it doesn't matter who we pick, Blues, United, Aetna, Cigna, whoever, you pick a plan that is a pre-negotiated benefit in a box.
Right.
It's pre-licensed, all the codes are built into it. All of the reimbursements are built into it. The PPO network of providers and accessibility is built into it. And you step into it. Essentially what you're doing is stepping into a world that already tells you that it's going to charge whatever it wants underneath that umbrella of that network that's built in. And an example would be on the hospital example we talked about a minute ago. Let's say you have hospital A and hospital B that are both on the network. You could go to either one for your knee surgery. Your PPO network has both of them included. They're both under your network, and you can go to your doctor to either one. Right?
Yeah.
You're
Going well so far.
Yep. So it's pre-approved surgery. But hospital A, their core costs are 600% of Medicare's threshold. Hospital B is 800% of Medicare's threshold. But your network has a 40% discount on the deal. So you're going to get 40% off 600% or 40% off 800%. Now let's just go to business 101. Let's change the equation. I want you to come down to my truck dealership and I'm going to sell you a truck, Scott. I know you've been looking for one. I want to sell one to you.
Okay.
Killer deal. They're 80% off.
Wow.
For you. So come on down and pick out a truck. So you come down to the dealership and you see a really awesome pickup truck you want. It's got everything on it you can imagine. Price tag of $85,000. And you say, and I say, I mark this down for you, Scott. I will go get your financing done, or are you going to pay cash for the $85,000? You go, whoa. Wait a minute. I thought this was on sale for 80% off. Well, it is 80% off. Well, 80% off of what? Well, I didn't tell you that I marked it up to whatever, 190 grand before you got here. I didn't tell you that, but who cares? I mean, it's 80% off.
Right.
That's what we're talking about here. I mean, it's another perspective or another way of looking at value, because that's kind of what we're talking about. You've traveled a ton, I know. Value, you walk into an airport, you sit in a nice restaurant in the airport, you have a nice glass. It's glass. It's got nice ice cubes. They might even be decorative ice cubes. And it's got a Coke in it. It's this big. How much did that cost you at the airport?
Probably 2 to 3 times more than outside the airport.
Like $4 or $5 maybe you
Probably.
pay for it?
Sure.
So you're going to go to McDonald's after you get home You can buy one of the monster ones. Ice cubes aren't as cool. It's in a paper cup, big though. Cost you 99 cents, $1.08 with tax.
Right.
What's the difference? There's no difference between those two Cokes. One's prettier. That's what we're talking about here. So value, the value deception has been so ingrained into people's lives that their perception is this is the only way, and it's not the only way. Value can be delivered to the people and is being delivered by some really strategic carriers in today's world. The key is employers need to look, because when they really see that value show up in a different way and approaching their healthcare from a different perspective, they're saving 30 to 40% on their premiums. It's out there right now. And
so they
employers
can find places that will do the job at equal quality,
Yep.
equal healability.
Yep.
I think I just created a word there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And yet they don't understand the difference between hospital A, B, C, D, and E. And so they're making a choice off of the plan that's offered up to them, or the, how it looks to their employee.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, back to one of the things that employers want. They want value, which we've been talking a little bit about. They want to make sure that they're getting a good value, but they want simplicity. One of the things that the traditional industry has mastered is delivery of your plan. It's very pretty. It's easy to access. You have your ID card. All of your data is already built into the hospital system. All you got to do is walk in and give them your ID number or your social security number, and they magically somehow know what your deductible and co-insurance, and you don't even have to think. The only thing you have to think about is, can I afford this? Meaning, can I afford this deductible, co-insurance, copay, and the premium? Can I afford it? And am I really getting, meaning back to value just momentarily, am I really getting what I need? Am I getting my physicals and my checkups and my labs and my chiropractic? Am I getting all that for 100% with no deductible, no copay? No, I should be. I should be getting all of those things. I should be getting the top 82 generic drugs, the metformins, the thyroid stuff, the high blood. I should be able to get all that for $5 or less, maybe even less than $5. I should be able to get all of that stuff for nearly nothing. And that, if I could get all of that front end stuff, or maybe even an urgent care visit, if Johnny cuts his chin open, or if I have to have some small urgent care stuff, I could at least do it for a $50 copay or even 100%. I should be able to do that. If I did that, I'd knock out 82% of my needs. And frankly, Scott, that's the reason most employees go to work for certain employers, is for the benefits, because they get something like that.
Right.
The challenge is what's the price to pay for it? What is that price tag? And then it gets to simplicity, and how easily is it being delivered, right? How easy is it for me to access? Because I don't know. I mean, even those of us who work in the industry, it's hard to know what that black box looks like, which really, I don't have time to check every hospital and whether they're 6 or 8 or 900% of Medicare. And most people don't even know what that means, let alone an employer trying to figure it out on their behalf. They don't even want to know that. They just want to get fixed, right? I just want my broken finger fixed. This hurts. I have COVID. I'm dying. Help me, right? Or I'm in so much pain in my C4 through 7 in my spine. Just guide me to the best orthopedic surgeon that can fix me. That's the mentality. But what's happening is the gap is separated. I got news for America. Rich people don't use health plans for the most part. They negotiate cash transactions.
Who would have known that was even possible, right?
Or they go hire their own private docs to do their work, and they get paid $100. They'll pay them an annual fee to just manage the family with preventative. That's what very wealthy do. We're talking about everybody else. We're talking about the rank and file. What if regular Jane, regular Joe, $20,000 a year, $40,000 a year could have access to 100% coverage. How would that make a difference in their lives? Huge. How would it make a difference to a single working mom that's got challenges with that same spine and she needs chiropractic visits often? Huge to be able to have that paid at 100%. Very, very big deal. And she can make it affordable to her. So employers, yes, they want the simplicity. Is it available? It is. Plans like I'm talking about exist in America today. Brokers don't like them because they make less money. Because brokers normally get paid a percentage of gross premium.
Right.
So if I sell a health plan to XYZ employer and I reduce the cost 40%, I just cut my commissions 40%. So does that mean the only ones
just
that are
be about that?
yeah, it is sadly sometimes. I'm not going to pick on I'm one of them. I'm a broker, right? So I'm not going to beat up all my brothers and sisters in this world. But the truth is that we've all done it. And everybody has to stop and take a look and go, hey, do I want to be part of the problem or part of the solution?
Well, it seems like we've got a significant issue for many people and for many organizations as well. I mean, they can't attract their ideal employee because they can't afford, in their mind, the benefit package that would be the attractor to do it. So there's got to be a better way.
Well, what we're starting to see in America today is we're starting to see plans, and I'll give you an example. I mean, there's an event coming up in July called the Aspiration Health event, and Aspiration Health is an organization that promotes these kinds of ideas, and their keynote speaker this year is an organization called NUCA, N-U-K-A, NUCA Health Plans, and it's essentially the Alaskan People's Health Plan. And it's won like a zillion awards. It's one of the most successful health plan adventures in the United States of America. It is phenomenal. And they have proven over and over and over again how to deliver healthcare to indigenous people and Native Alaskans in a way that we've never seen anywhere else in America. They're doing it so at half the cost of the rest of America. So they must be doing something uniquely well. And this Congress, or this opportunity to listen to that, will be a fascinating experience. But they have a couple of other speakers. One of those is the CEO of Redirect Healthcare, Dr. Dave Berg, and Janice Johnson, who is their medical director. NUCA would tell you, and has spoken out loud, I've heard them say this, that the very best plan or closest plan to them that they've seen in America is Redirect Healthcare. And now Redirect's been around for a number of years. They've got a really interesting offering that is, if you were to look at healthcare costs as a composite cost annually, it averages in America right around $11,000 a year per employee. That's approximately where we are nationally. Redirect, I think, just finished their analysis of the last 7 years to find that their costs were running at about $4,200 composite. So they're experiencing very similar numbers to NUCA. There's a reason for that. Is it all about cutting costs or negotiating from one hospital to another? No, it's mainly about elimination of waste. Like if you need to go in to a doctor's visit and you got something, my shoulder hurts, I'm getting older. Well, let's run you down the hallway for an MRI. Well, running you down the hallway for an MRI, unbeknownst to you, across America could be anywhere between $1,800 to $5,400 for an MRI.
Wow.
And you don't even know it. You just went down the hall because it was convenient. Well, what if you knew there was a MRI facility across the street, you could get it for $299?
Right. And I know there are.
They're everywhere. So what if my plan let me know if I were to use their concierge app and say, hey, I need to get an MRI. Where's the best place I can get that MRI under my plan? Oh, you can go across the street from where you are for $299. Okay, well, I'm here at the doctor. Can we do that? And you can send it over to him? Yeah. Or maybe I don't need an MRI at all. What if we start with an X-ray, which costs $5?
Right.
You know, what if we started with that to see if what we can see? But that waste is wasteful to an employer, is wasteful to you and I, is not wasteful to the industry, meaning the medical industry. It's awesome for them. So that's where I made the comment there's not an alignment here.
Right.
If you are a CEO and you have hired a fully insured plan to manage your care, you have a fox in the chicken house. Straight up. Because it's not aligned.
Yeah.
And how do you know?
It just doesn't seem right, that's the way it is. With my event a number of years ago, 6 days in intensive care, $278,000.
Yep.
And basically I laid there.
Yep.
It's not like they did a whole ton of stuff. So
Well, they
I
brought
agree.
you some nice food.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was no, it wasn't
Come
that.
on.
It wasn't that good. So no, I get what you're saying. I mean, I think that this is what, again, I want to do with Scott Schilling Speaks, is I want to share information with people for consideration. If they like it, great. If they don't like it, great. That's, but it's I don't know what I don't know. I know many times I'm standing on stage and I say, by a show of hands, how many of you don't know what you don't know? And, is it possible somebody knows what you don't know? Is it even possible that I might know what you don't know? The reality is we've got to educate people on these types of things, because
Right.
unfortunately, far too many people are being affected in a negative way. Either they can't attract the employees they want, they can't get the coverage they need themselves, they don't bother to get any physical care because in fact they can't afford to.
Right.
It's all those things. That's why conversations like this become very important, to be able to share the message. This is the first time, and it's not like I haven't been around this industry or heard some of these things in the past, but this is the first time I heard of hospitals setting different cost basis against the Medicare standards, which that just seems like wrong.
Well, this is an industry that has it has no limitations in that space right now. And like or dislike Trump, and I'm not bringing him up to take a side either way, but like or dislike Trump, he was working really hard to pass a Transparency Act for a reason. If we can get transparency in pharmacy, if we could get transparency in costs overall, so that you and I could make a better decision about what we buy, that becomes a very powerful experience. Very powerful. And so, he's certainly not the only one jumping up and down on that, or was. There's many that are. He just happened to be the noisy one because he was noisy, right? So, but the reality of it is that as more people find that out and they can become more efficient at using their healthcare, it empowers them.
Well, and the other thing is that obviously the one thing you do learn when you have a health event is without your health, you got nothing. I mean, there's no doubt about that fact. And we've got to do some things to help some people. Amazing that we've shot through our time here this quickly. So there are alternatives. There are other possibilities for you at least to consider. I would recommend that everybody, if they want to, or anybody, if they want to investigate this a little bit more, send me an email at scott@scottschilling.com, and I'll connect you with Bill and the people that have this information to at least learn about. knowledge is an amazing thing. Then at least you can make a decision, an informed decision. Nobody is trying to do anything other than share with you what you might not know at this point, because the reality is there's probably a tremendous amount you don't know. There was a tremendous amount that I didn't know until I started doing a little research into it, and certainly want to do everything we can to pass that information along, so at least you can make an informed decision, because uh, it's not getting better on its own. Would that be a fair statement?
It would, and I would recommend that as people reach out, you could refer them to that aspirational healthcare invite. They could just go to aspirationalhealthcare.com. And if that's something they want some education, they're going to be hearing a lot of amazing speakers on many of these kinds of subjects and more that are aspiring to develop better solutions in America. So whether you're an employer that's got 100,000 employees or 10, you could listen into that event and you would learn some things.
Yeah, again, totally agree. I'm looking forward to that too, because it is a matter of upping your knowledge base to make some better decisions going forward. Again, Bill, thanks for being here. We'll have to do this again. It just, time passes way too quickly. Again, if you want more information, go ahead and email me at scott@scottschilling.com. I'll make sure you get hooked up with that. Thank you for joining me here today, and we'll see you again tomorrow, next episode. God bless.
Thanks.
Have a great day.